Shalom. Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. We're going to start off this lesson by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Same.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well and has taught us this word in truth and sincerity. And peace and mercy to the hopeful elect that are also pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. And you little amount of sisters that believe as well and listen. So this live lesson, we're going to go through Revelation, the 17th chapter, prophetic chapter, as we're dealing with the time and prophecy, man. We're in Revelation, the 13th, with MOTBs getting ready to be established. But it's also important to go through the 17th chapter as well, because it kind of ties in with the 13th chapter, as well with the 18th chapter as you read next going on. So without further ado, let's pull it up. Okay. All right. Slack, give me a second here. All right. So, Revelation chapter 17, verse 1. And it reads, and you see the title of the headline here is The Doom of Babylon. All right. So it says, and there came one of the seven angels which had seven vials and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Right? And this great whore, it's going to explain, the chapter will explain further on as why she's called the whore. But this great whore represents a great city. It's America today. And America really is just a big city because like Apostle Dahar always says, you can't have a city without civilians.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a big city. All these countries are just major cities, small cities. All right. Verse 2, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. That's right, man. So these other cities, okay, these other countries have been made drunk with what? The philosophies of America. A major philosophy, if for lack of a better term, would be what? Democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's why they have waged wars with many different countries. And what do they set up there? Military camps in these different countries, man. And then furthermore, you go into the financial system, right? These nations.
And they also got the embassies.
Embassies,
right?
Yeah.
The U.S. embassies, and then, like you said, they have the military bases. Mm-hmm. And then through that wine starts going forth, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Mm-hmm. You have a bunch of covert things happening as well. You have university infiltrations in the educational system. Mm-hmm. Right. You have a bunch of different programs, all, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
It even happens vice versa when you have these other nations. They send, you know, especially like living here in Ontario and Toronto, I've noticed with East Indians, right? When they come over here, they get rid of their whole culture completely.
Mm-hmm.
They'll cut
that's
their
all hair. These nations. That's the Hamites.
Yeah.
You know, the Hamites come here.
Yeah, that's right.
And within a generation, you know.
Yeah, that's right, man. I got a quick precept. This is Nahum 3:1. 1, but the point is in verse 4. It says, Nineveh's complete ruin. So this is applying to Nineveh at the time of Nineveh, but you can also use this to apply to America, because America comes in the spirit of Nineveh, Babylon, Egypt, and Rome. Okay. It says Nahum 3:1, woe to the bloody city, it is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. The noise of a whip, the noise of the rattling of the wheels, and the prancing horses, and of the jumping chariots. So what does that represent? All the cars, the business, the traffic that happens over here, in especially in America, right? You got major cities like New York City. You got a whole bunch of that whole place is full of traffic. All right.
City that doesn't sleep, huh?
Yeah, the city that doesn't sleep. That's what they say. Yeah. Verse 3 says, the horseman lifteth up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end to their corpse. They stumble upon their corpse. Yeah, because guess what? America is going to be destroyed by the way of missiles, nuclear missiles, man. All right, and the scriptures in Revelation talk about how the blood in the streets is going to be filled up to the horse's bridle. So, those of us that have the hopeful elect, man, when we come back down, guess what? The first job of these Edomite slaves and these heathen slaves are going to be to bury these bodies. They're going to be left as corpse. Verse 4, it says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft, right?
That's Revelations 18, about she deceived the nations through her sorceries. And then when you look up sorcery, pharmakia, which means what? Witchcraft.
That's right, man. That's right. Yeah. And I think I forgot too, a while back, I looked up mistress, and like mistress is almost like it's a feminine way of saying master, right? Or lord. So it's like the master of witchcraft, the lord of witchcraft, right? And it says the mistress of witchcraft that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. That's right. So this place is, America is all about witchcraft and sorcery, as the elder brought out pharmakia, right? You can link that to pharmaceutical drugs, right? That basically, these drugs just, dim the mind, dull your mind out, let you, have you open to all kinds of spirits to inhabit you. And that's why America is called Babylon as well, because it's a place full of confusion.
You ready for that word, whore? Because everything that was just said, okay, describes what a whore is in regards to the noun, and then also obviously to the verb of what it is, and everything that you said, and it's interesting, right? And basically what was just discussed as well for you folks at home, in spirit and in truth, what came out. Okay, and it's never stale, the characteristics of what a whore is, right? What a whore is, right? But this whore here, okay, is a special one, right? But everything it said. So that being said, if you're ready for the word,
bring it up,
right? Because so I'm in the etymology here, Etym Online. I'm not going to read the whole thing, right? But for you folks, it's simple. You could just go pull it up. But I just wanted to touch on the points of what a whore is in regards to what was said in spirit and in truth. So it says here, prostitute, 1530s, a prostitute, a harlot. Okay, and that's from the Proto-Germanic, so straight. And then it says, let me jump down.
What a prostitute, right? A prostitute does what? A prostitute sells herself.
Mhm.
If you go into America has had to. They're in such deep debt to some of these other nations, China in particular, right? There's land, parts of America, the landmass that China owns. You know, it's not actually even America. You
Hey,
know,
it's like I got the word mistress in the Hebrew.
Okay, beautiful.
The word is ba'ila,
Hmm.
which means mistress, female owner,
right?
sorceress,
Right.
necromancer.
Wow.
Con.
And then the root is so like a Baal, not like Baal, but Bail.
Hmm. The feminine.
And it means owner, husband, or lord.
Con. Right.
Hmm.
So she's the lord of witchcraft, man.
Yep. Beautiful. Yep. Real quick, yeah. So prostitute.
And that's
mentioned.
why it's like your brother,
Okay.
and that's
No,
why
no,
the
no. Go
whole
ahead.
world is under that Semiramis woman worship spirit. That's
Con.
part of that. They
Con.
push that heavy.
Yeah.
The Queen of Heaven.
Queen of Heaven. That's right, man. Everybody, every nation, even nations that say they don't celebrate Christmas, still end up celebrating Christmas. They
That's
buy
right.
gifts
That's
for
right.
their families and everything like that.
Wow. Wow. Okay. No, real quick, yeah. So, adult or fornicator, okay, prostitute. This is all onto that whore, real quick, and then it says, one who desires, of course, okay, to like to desire, and then it says which in other languages has produced words for lover and friend. So it's just going into the characteristics. But what was jumping out on me here is everything, like I said, that was mentioned. It says whore, right? Okay. Middle English, omnium, HORE, physical, filth, slime, moral corruption, sin.
Yep, and that's why
Right?
you got a whole lot of
Right.
division within America. The morality of the American citizens is completely corrupt. Right? You got nations against nations, or states against states, right? And you got complete division. The scriptures say that how if Satan be against Satan, right? Roughly paraphrasing, how can his kingdom stand? You know, and that's all by design, by the way, right? It's all by design.
Yep. So the next part says a general term of abuse for an unchaste or lewd woman, right? And that this is pretty much it in essence here. And we know a whore is a whore. You cannot. They have a purpose, right? You can get to probably no one. I'm saying this for a reason. You could probably get to no one, but it's still a whore. Right?
And then when you read back in Nahum, brother, right, Nahum 3, when it mentions that the mistress of witchcraft that selleth nations, right? That's what you said about she sells herself, the merchandise, right?
Con.
Mm-hmm.
Con.
That's right. That's right. The last part of it. It says the whore of Babylon is from Revelation 17 and verse 5. Right? That's what it's giving you for this. Okay, so we know it's on and on. In Middle English with occasional plural forms, horin or harmonium.
Yeah,
So
it's nothing deep, you know.
Yeah,
It's just a
exactly.
word.
That's the whole point. It's not deep. That's the whole point. But I have to just read it for those at home. You can do your own research on that. That's the point on that, brother. Get into it.
So going back to Revelation 17 and 2, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, right? Full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns, right? So John saw a woman, and he saw a literal woman, but this woman represented, America. Now, when you get into what the 7 heads, the blasphemies, right? Going, because basically America would
Well, the
come.
beast. You got to get into the scarlet colored beast.
Yeah, and Con, I have a precept for that too, because it says the same thing in Scarlet goes back to red, right? And that beast. Let me just pull it up here. Revelation 12:3 says the same thing, right? The red dragon, right? And there, Revelation 12:3, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So this is the same beast that John's seeing in this chapter as well, right? Scarlet, scarlet colored beast, right? And then it says,
Although I believe in Revelation 12 is dealing with the Roman Empire, which America, although is the same beast coming back in the spirit,
Right.
it's the Roman Empire coming back. You know,
right,
it's the same thing. But that beast in Revelation is dealing with NATO,
13.
right? The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the military, and then the EU, which is the 10 heads or the 10 horns.
Yeah, the
which
10
is the
horns.
Commonwealth, right?
Con. Yeah, because the 7 heads. Now the 7 heads though goes back into what, those ancient kingdoms.
Con.
Germanian Minor, Germanian Major, Spanish,
French,
yeah, British, yeah,
Greeks,
and Rome and the Greeks. That's right, the Greeks, right?
Greeks.
So that's the 7 heads. Those 7 ancient empires, right? So with whom, verse 3 says, and so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet beast, which is NATO and the EU, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads, those ancient kingdoms, and 10 horns, which is the EU, right? That was established, what, 1958?
Yes, that was the treaty of, I think it was called the Treaty of Rome.
Right, Con, that's
If
right.
I'm not mistaken, but
Yeah. So,
and they worship Satan, man, right? All their symbology when you get into NATO and the EU, right? It's all Satanism, right?
Con, yeah. All you gotta do is look up those, like you said, the symbols that they come under. You got something?
No, I was going to say what the elder went into. The characteristics is that Revelation 13:1-6 that brings out the position of the whore that took on the character of ancient Rome. Right? Right? So Revelation 13:1-6 explains, simply put, the
yeah, let me just read one. Actually,
take your time. Go ahead, take your time.
Yeah, based upon what you're saying, right? Because Revelation 13:1, like you just brought out, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea. Again, that NATO and EU military, having 7 heads and 10 horns, right? Because 10 horns represent the 10 original nations that came together in 1958, right? Treaty of Rome, right? It's 12, but you got 2 nations that are actually that they broke apart. I forgot it. Portugal and Spain are actually one, and I think is England and another one, but it's actually 10 in total, right? So those European nations, and upon his horn 10 crowns, right? Rulership, because these 10 nations, European nations, were actual imperial empires, so to speak, during the time of Rome and the Greeks and such. And upon his heads the name of blasphemy, right? So through America's military might, they've been able to blaspheme what? The name of the Lord. They blasphemed the image of the Lord. They blasphemed everything through his philosophies, his witchcraft. They blasphemed everything that has to do with the Heavenly Father and the saints, including his son.
Yeah, the Renaissance, the iconoclasm.
Right.
right? They had the Bible Destruction Group,
Mhm.
Mhm.
right, where they retranslated and took things out, made new translations. You know,
Con.
they did
Yeah,
a bunch of wicked things, right?
that's right. So verse Revelation 17 and 4, or 4, it says, and the woman was arrayed in purple scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornications. That's right. And we already kind of dived in those fornications. And the purple scarlet color basically represents how America would be very costly. When you go into the 18th chapter, it talks about the destruction of America and how these nations would basically weep in a sense because now they can't have their business that they've had with America and be made rich. Because that's really what they were loving. They were loving the fact that they were getting rich. Okay, off of
Mhm.
America and her business. So actually, I got a quick precept here. Jeremiah 15, and let me get right to the point. Oh wait, let's see what 7 say. Yeah, Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. Right, so you put the earth when you're drunk, you're really drunk, you're confused. All right, so the whole earth is in a state of confusion.
And they have no judgment because you have no.
Right, God.
Your perception is gone. Your judgment is gone.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
Mhm.
That's
your
right.
reaction time. That's why when you drink and drive, that's why they say you're not supposed to because your reaction time, right?
Yeah, God. That's right. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad.
Mhm.
That's what's gonna happen, man. Once these nations, it's kind of like when you you go to the club, you're drunk, you spend all this money on women, you wake up in the morning and you look at your bank account and you're pissed.
Well,
You
really,
know?
he's talking about they're crazy here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because look at what happened with Sri Lanka. With Sri Lanka, remember?
Oh,
Oh
Khan.
yeah, yeah.
Why was that?
Right.
That land can be self-sufficient, but it's owned by the what is that? The IMF,
Yeah. IMF.
International Monetary Fund,
Yeah.
right? So these banks they loan them money with conditions, and then they give them their fiat currency, the petrodollar.
Mhm.
They have to accept that dirty American dollar, which basically collapses societies, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why, yeah, that's right, Elder. And that's why they're gonna end up turning on the whore.
Hey, remember Zimbabwe? They had a fiat currency, and it inflated so much they had a $1 million note.
Yeah.
Billion, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Supposed to be boastful.
And they used to have a $1,000 American note.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
you got to bring that back.
Look at that. This just look at the word mad. And basically what you said here, you look at the definition for E, it says to make a fool of. Right? Make into a fool. To act madly. Act like a madman.
Yeah, you go crazy.
Yeah, crazy. So
Yep. That's the spirit on the people.
yeah.
Wow.
That's what's gonna cause World War III, right? Because they're fed up with America and it's
Hey, down there it says rage.
oh yeah.
If you go down, we don't know what that juice is gonna unfold.
Yeah.
Right.
We're gonna rage.
What's behind the blue door, a red door, a
It's
purple
gonna be
door?
like World War Z.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right, man. Okay, Con. So going back to Revelation 17 and 5, It says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
Come.
Right, and when you break this word down, you break this down in the Hebrew, it ties into 666, which is what you read about in Revelation 13, the 13th chapter.
Yeah,
The
all the Hebrew
Right,
consonants they line up. They add up to 666.
that's right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If I can say, I watch a video, and most Jakes in America, they go overseas to find a woman, right?
Yeah,
This is missing, and one of the ladies was saying, "Do not bring that woman over here, because once you bring it over here, she become a." She said, she become a whore, because she didn't get um indoctrinated with all the shit that's going on in this place, because you have to do anything you want in this place. Right? You go, don't bring that woman over here because
Yeah,
it becomes like the others, polluted.
yeah,
Right.
that's what happens, man. That's what happens. Absolutely. Verse 6, it says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahweh. Right, and who are the saints? The saints of the Israelites. And to get some insight on this, look at what they did with the Gadites, the so-called Negroes, right? The Mexicans. Those are all Israelites, man. They almost slaughtered. They almost completed genocide, or committed genocide with the Gadites, North American Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So America is full of blood with the saints. All right, and with the blood of the martyrs, the elect, those that will die for this word, that are written to die for this word of Yahweh Shai. Right, they're gonna behead them. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Yeah. So when John saw her, he admired her. That's how beautiful she looked, and that's kind of like that madness and fornication and witchcraft, right? That spell that America has on these other nations, the whole world.
Because everyone's dream just to come to this place,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
The so-called American dream. You either want to go to New York or LA and become something, and
The apple.
yeah, the Big Apple. Yeah, that's funny. That's spiritual. Big
Yeah,
Apple.
they're going there to eat the apple.
Revelation 17:7, and it says, and the angel said unto me,
Before you read that, brother,
Come.
just for the record, because whenever we bring this out, we must bring out Revelation 13, right? With 13, going back to, if you could just read, to the point, 13 to Revelation 13, 16 to 18, right? Because we just described for those folks at home who this 666 is, right? Babylon the Great, 6, Mother of Harlots, 6, and the abominations there at 6. So the precept that links to that is Revelation 13, 16 to 18. If you could just read that record and then go back to what you're doing, brother. It's important.
Revelation
Okay.
13 and 16.
Yeah,
And
going back to
and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, M-A-R-K, in their right hand or in their foreheads. And
Okay, 1 second. You notice I love how it's put there, and he, right? And didn't we go into what this mistress is?
Mhm.
All right. So you folks at home, you understand a little bit? If the Spirit's working with you, it says he, right? But we know who the mistress is. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, basically scream that it'll be a man, and that's the elites, okay, the Edomites, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the MARK or name of the beast or the number of his name, right, which goes into the barcode system. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 636. Which is what we read in Revelation 17 and the fifth verse.
Great. That's it.
All right. Revelation 17:7. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, and the beast that carrieth her, right, which represents these other nations, right? NATO and the EU, because America is basically, the head of the NATO and the EU. Right? Those are all vassal states. Look that word up. Vassal states, basically states that are in allegiance with America and give their power.
You can say that they're the teeth. They're a force. America has its own force, military, but NATO is a great force as well.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. Right. Again, 7 heads being those ancient kingdoms, and 10 horns being the EU. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Revelation 20. Right, coming out of Europe and going into what? The Renaissance age, and go into perdition. That's right, and that's what we're getting ready to see and witness. It's destruction upon America.
He said was and is not, because John seen it
right
at America's time, and he said it was, but then he said it is not, because in his time it's not yet.
Right.
He said it's going to come out of the bottomless pit, which
right.
is, the Renaissance.
Con. That's right.
It mentions in Daniel 7 about the 3 little horns.
Yeah, let's get that real quick, because that was actually my next precept. 7. I'll start at 7. Daniel 7. The point's in 8, really. Daniel 7:7, and it reads, after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. Right, which is what the elder was bringing out, and this goes into what? The Roman Empire.
Yeah, their military was great.
That's right.
They had legions.
Right. That's right. And they use iron in their military a lot for their weapons as well. Right. It devoured and brake in pieces. Yeah. And stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse, because the world at that time has never seen an empire like Rome, ancient Rome. All right, they study the art of battle. They study the Assyrians. They study other nations' empires before them, and became even greater than them. And it was diverse. Yeah.
And also, brother, why he really says that is because they practiced. They didn't have an emperor. They practiced so-called democracy.
Right.
They had a senate, the water, Malak.
Con, right.
Which was really created in Greece, but they didn't practice that either. It was Rome that practiced it.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So you needed a vote. You needed a majority vote. All that stuff, which we know you have bribes and all that shit anyway. You have corruption, but nevertheless, that's why it says it was diverse from all the beasts.
Yeah.
Right. You can jump right down to actually verse 20 to 22. Okay. All right, just to tighten that up in regards to that, those horns and those little horns. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just Slack. I was looking for that precept in the Maccabees. What the others?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was in
Beautiful.
the
No,
book of-
find that first. If you can find it, the one in the Maccabees.
Yeah.
We don't really need
What
it.
the elder was
It's
saying.
just a historical point.
Yeah, I
If,
think so.
if people in the, that are watching, you can read about that.
Yeah.
You can Google it. That's just a side note why it says that, right? But we can keep going.
Con.
Mhm.
And it says stamped residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. And I think at that time that was the 10 Germanic tribes that were.
No, it was the same nations, right? Because remember, before Germany, it was called Germania Minor, Germania Major,
Right.
and then before France, it was called the Franks, right? So those nations were there already.
Right.
You know.
Con. That's right. Verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, where before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. Right. And that little horn is talking about America. Right. The 3 horns is what? Spanish, French, and British.
British. Yep.
And British.
That was the so-called American Revolution,
Right. That's right.
right? Which was Rothschild sponsored anyway, but
Con. That's right.
they
Yeah.
had to fight the Spanish Revolution, French Revolution, and the British,
Right.
so-called.
That's right. Those wars, yeah.
Yeah.
Behold, whom there were of the 3 horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, it in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man. That's right, which represents what? Wisdom. Right? The wisdom that basically that's why they were able. That's why when they were set loose, they were able to deceive the whole earth. When you read Romans the 20th chapter. It was loose for a little season and deceived the whole earth. So that represents the wisdom. And I think Daniel says thou art wiser, or the scriptures say, I think thou art wiser than Daniel as well. I forgot what chapter that is or what book that is.
It's I think Ezekiel.
Ezekiel. Okay, come.
Yeah.
And a mouth speaking great things. That's right. All those blasphemies, right?
Mhm.
Swelling things. And we're in that. We're in the 4th industrial revolution, and you hear what they're talking about: AI technology, metaverse, all these things that are artificial against what's natural. Romans or Revelation 17:8, 17:9, and it reads, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads and 7 mountains are 7 mountains. That's right, 7 governments. That's what mountains goes into. Governments, rulerships, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. Right, because the 5 that fell were what? The Greeks, Germanian Minor, Germanian Major, Spanish, Spain,
And French, I believe.
French, right? And the one that is
The Romans.
right, Romans, because that was his time. That he was in that Roman Empire at the time. John was, so that's the one that is, and the one that's, and it says, and the other is not yet come. That's talking about America.
No, that's talking about Britain.
Britain, yes,
Britain.
Britain.
right. America came out of Britain, Slovakia. Yeah, and that's talking about Britain. And
Because it says it must continue a short space.
right,
That was around like 200 years, I think. That's why they used to say this: the sun will never set on the British coast.
Mhm.
That was a big saying back in in that time. Because remember, they had a British East and a British West India Company.
Wow.
Right, so they were.
Con.
Wow. That just showed the Lord had his hand in this. Well, controlling it. Go ahead, brother. Salakia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space.
Mhm.
And the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth,
Mhm.
and is of the seventh,
Mhm.
which is America coming out of Britain, and goeth into perdition.
Mhm.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour. That's right. With the beast.
Hmm.
That 1 hour going into 1958.
Fine.
Till,
That's right. Yep.
yeah, 1958 till 2000. That's 42 years.
Hmm.
Mistaken. 42 years. So
That's right.
and that's why Apostle Dahar always says that. What does he say? He always says that America is living on borrowed time.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, come on.
Mhm.
And
So yeah.
Hosea, I forget which chapter, but it mentions after 2 days, and then in the third day we're gonna be alive, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So we're in that third day.
Con.
Because that was 2,000 years ago. 2,000 already passed.
Con.
Right. So we're in the third day now. The third
Right.
thousand, so called.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, Hosea 6:2. You want to go there?
I'll get it real quick. Hosea 6:2.
Yeah, read verse 1 as well. Yeah, go ahead, the elder brother.
Where are we here? Hosea.
Because even that's why it says they were ruling during that time. Those
Right.
kingdoms were nothing. When the
Right.
British were ruling, all those kingdoms were under. They weren't anything really.
Con.
But they started after even World War I, World War II. They weren't really anything. They were fighting. They were in ruins.
Right.
That's why after World War II, what was that? 45?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1944, 45.
Yeah.
Right, and then it took them over 10 years, right, to do the treaty, and then
Right.
that's when now we have a pool of money and we have influence and all resources and whatnot.
Con. Hosea 6:1, and it reads, "Come and let us return unto the Lord Yahweh, for he has torn and he will heal us. He has smitten and he will bind us up." This is a point, verse 2. After 2 days will he revive us. In the third day he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight.
Oh,
Yeah, and then 2 Peter, what is that, 3:8 or something like that? One day unto the Lord is as 1,000 years.
Con. Right. Con. Yeah, and that's how you know it's 1,000 years to us, one day to the Lord. So back in Revelation 17:12, it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest, and the 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings, power as kings 1 hour with the beast." Again, going to the EU when it was established in 1958. "These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast." Right. Verse 14, "These shall make war with the Lamb." You can read about that war in, I think, Second Ezra, the 13th chapter?
13, yeah.
Yeah, Second Ezra, 13th chapter. "And the Lamb shall overcome them," being Yahushai, "and the chariots with the angels. For he is Lord of lords and Kings of kings, and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful." That's the elect. All right. "And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples, multitudes, and nations, and tongues." Yeah. And
which was basically broken down earlier before when we went into the whore. Excuse me.
Con. That's right.
Yeah, where she sits.
Con. That's right. And then And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. That's right. Which is, we're in the midst of that right now. You see all these different sanctions and fightings and bickering between these different from all these different nations, and America especially. Right. We're in the time of this being fulfilled after the MOTB. And then the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. World War III nuclear missiles.
And like Apostle Tahar says, like something is going to happen where the EU, like there's going to be an event where they're going to, they're going to blame America, man. Because you're seeing what's happening in all these European countries, man. They're going to hell.
Yeah.
Real fast.
That's
right. They had a motto last year where it was heat or eat, right? You either have money to heat your house, your home, or buy groceries, buy food.
Wow.
So this winter,
Yeah. Con.
A quick reset. Joel 2:1.
Con.
And it reads, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain." It reads, "Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, for is a night at hand." Because on Revelation was the 17 and 16.
Yeah.
Which you just read right now. This is a burn with their fire.
Yeah, con. That's right.
So it's gonna come to this place, and it says in verse 2.
Hold on, brother, and that's also, I just want to mention, that's also why Hosea said the Lord will wake us up, right? Blow ye a trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm, which is a warning, which we're getting the warning through this truth, through this knowledge. In my holy mountain, that's the elect. Like a mountain goes back to what? A government. The government of Israel is going to start with the elect. Yahweh Shai on down to the elect. So the elect are being woken up again. Go ahead, bro.
So that's why with the videos, it's an alarm. Every time you see a video, there's news, there's update, Because like Apostle Gabar will say, we always watching what's going on in this place, right? Because sooner or later, something's going to come up.
Yeah.
Right? Verse 2 says, "A day of darkness, and it's like a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and strong. There had not been ever like, neither should be any more after, even to the years of the many generations."
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a great day of destruction, man. Great day of destruction. So going back to Revelation 17:7, for Yahweh, or 17:17, for Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, right? And to agree and to give their kingdoms unto the beast, man, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. So the Heavenly Father really is the one who set up the EU and NATO, right? He set it up. He put it in their minds to agree, right, into making the EU and NATO, and he's also going to put it in their minds to fight against each other. Verse 18, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city, America, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. God, that's it.
Yeah, you can read Revelation 11 and 8. It goes with that.
11 and what?
11 and 8.
Okay.
Yeah, in regards to that. All right. It shows us the. Go ahead.
So 11, Revelation chapter 11, verse 8, and it reads, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, America, which
Okay,
spiritually."
so one second. You mentioned city was meant like a great, like it can mean a country, right? Doesn't necessarily have to mean a small, like town.
Right.
So when we look up the word city, because it mentioned great city, that's the key emphasis, right?
Mhm.
It says city 1200 Old French, town, city, and then it says from Latin, originally citizenship,
Beautiful.
condition or rights of a citizen,
Mm.
right?
Got it.
So you get American citizenship, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
American-
So
yeah,
all the
citizenship.
nations are in there, so they have to get an American citizenship. To that is symbolically going into the great city. Is that that's what you were actually going into, right, bro?
The citizenship just means
Yeah. All
part
the
of the
all
city.
the nations have a citizenship. That's what I was saying. Same thing, nothing different, right? So that great city, right? So they come to America. All nations have to get a citizenship. Beautiful
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm.
So verse 11, or verse 8, Revelation 11 and 8, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where our Lord Yahushua was crucified." That's right. And they've X'd out Yahushua over here in the West,
Mm-hmm.
starting with America. You know, they had their meetings, World Health Organization or World Health Organization. You know, they host their meetings in Davos. They had their meeting in Davos in Switzerland, which is the highest point in Switzerland. And that word and that name Davos goes back to Son of David. You just look that up on Google. It tells you Son of David. So we know the Son of David also means Yahushua. So what are they setting up? They're setting up their policies and everything is basically anti-Yahushua, anti-Hamashiach. They're setting up that system, and that's what they're getting ready to bring into the earth by the way of the MOTB. You know,
Everything that this man do is against contrary to the Heavenly Father,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's witchcraft what he's doing right now.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Con. All right, well, that's it. That's the chapter. Those were my last precepts. I don't know if brothers have any lasting precepts or statements.
Oh, that's pretty much it, man. That's it.
Fine.
It was covered. Lord willing, it was edifying to those at home as well.
Yeah, Lord willing, was edifying to the whole full elect of the nation of Israel. So we are going to close by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh.
Hashem.
All right, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and has taught us his word in truth and sincerity. And peace and mercy to the whole full elect that are also teaching his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. And you sincere, a little amount of the sisters that believe as well. I'm going to say shalom to the whole full elect. And above all.
God,